Hello, everybody. Kim Victoria here, and it's tutorial time for purple time. Uh, I hope that you saw the flip through, and that's one of the reasons you want to see the tutorial. So I am completely set up and ready to go. As I mentioned in the flip through, this kit of scrapbook pages was full. It was 24 sheets, front and back, double-sided. And so I split it in half, and I have all the parts and pieces. I have it all stacked up so that we can go through page by page, and which I couldn't do the first time. Yeah, this was really figure it out and make something and then figure it out and make something. And so it was a real back and forth kind of activity. So it's going to go pretty fast for the tutorial because I can just follow along with what I already did. And that's kind of really nice. So I'm going to put this one over with its kit of supplies. And what I have besides my stack of paper here is I have these boxes. These actually come with cat food in them. Uh, they're so handy though. So I've got some of my parts and pieces. Here's some stickers. There's the beads. All the little bits and pieces, the lace, everything that I need for that is there. I have my ink's ready to go. And I have another stack over here. I've got little bits and pieces and some more paper over here. Oh, and I also have, this is what the muslin looked like before I inked it. So to go through all of this, now I could start from the center and work forward, or I could start at the front and work back, but I already stacked it starting with the front. So I guess I will start with the cover. So here we go. And we can kind of do this in two ways. So I'm going to put this off to the side so that I'm seeing what's going on. My table is very crowded here. So I need to, yeah, very crowded. All right, so page one. Here we go. Let's do it this way. There we go. All right. So this was spares. Okay, that was just some spare stuff in case I needed it. And oh, the vellum goes inside. So I got a little bit mixed up here. Okay, now here we go. And I won't bore you with inking, but the first thing I want to do is cut this to size. So this is, and that was one of the parts of this that was trying to figure it out because when Natasha of Treasure Books, of course, and I'll put the link to her construction of her layered journal. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in the upper right-hand corner now. And she used 10 sheets of scrapbook paper, and I only used 6 because I was adding a signature, and it was going to be plenty bulky with that added signature and some of the extra writing spaces. And it doesn't have to be 10 sheets. It could be 3. It could be 5. It could be whatever you feel like making. And that's an important point is, this is about experimenting. And this piece is 6 by 8. We'll go ahead and do that. So this is 8.5. So let me cut this to 6. So this is the thing with, this is now, well, this particular one I'm doing today, this one is my 4th journal that I made from a scrapbook kit. So now I've got this spare piece. And scrapbook kits are both fun and a challenge. I mean, in the first place, you've got this really pretty paper to work with. And on the other hand, their original intent was for them to be used in a scrapbook. I mean, we had that really huge, let's see, when did scrapbooking really kind of take off? I don't remember. It was in the early 2000s. I started making rubber stamps back in 1997. And back then, rubber stamps were kind of reaching their peak, you know? And then scrapbooking happened. And when scrapbooking happened, rubber stamping kind of fell off a bit. Let me make sure I didn't make any mistakes here. Okay, so that is 8 inches. That is 4 inches, so that looks right. So, when scrapbooking came up, rubber stamping kind of backed off a little bit. Now, rubber stamping became a really cool tool, but then all these companies that started producing, companies started to produce scrapbooking kits like these. And so there's no room on here particularly for rubber stamping unless you happen to have some really fun, oh, quote stamps or things like that that you want to use. But yeah, these scrapbook kits came out. They came out with frames and borders and all kinds of things. So stamping got a little bit, uh, reduced, shall we say. So, yeah. So now what's happening is that we have clear stamps. We have things like Tim Holt's been coming up with these kits of clear stamps with um, stencils and also with Sizzix, so die cutting machine stuff. I mean, it's really wonderful how many different kinds of supplies that you can work with. And I think it's a great thing. Now, it's a really cool thing to have available. Okay, so now this one, I don't have to think this time. I've got it all figured out for me. So this is just a little bit wide. I wanted to leave this little bit of a margin and create a little extra space. So I cut off a little bit. So probably, I don't know, we'll just cut off, I think just a 1/2 inch on that one. And that was a big part of my making decisions when I was making the first one of these layered journals, was that I wanted to use as many of these decorative elements. So I didn't want to lose this clock. I really wanted to keep that clock intact, but still needed to snip off a little bit. So now we have this, and I used this one and I rounded the corners on it. I used the smaller corner punch because this already has an indication of rounded corners. And when I'm fussy cutting these things out, I'm keeping in mind that I am going to ink. So you can kind of see that there's just a little bit of a margin there. So I'm getting the whole amount of the image, and I've left just a little bit of a margin so that when I ink, I'm getting a really nice inked edge, but I'm not cutting off the image too much. So it's just one of those things that I was thinking about. Now, what I did on this side is I used this tag, and I made my own tab that I copied a tab off of some kind of a file folder thing and just cut out my own little tabs from some card stock so that I would have them available because I don't have a tab punch. So I went ahead and just made my own little template. So let's see on this one, and I backed it with some journaling spot. So I'm going to do those things and I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back. Here was the original one. Let's get that back where it was. And on this one, I changed to purple. I didn't have any extra of the green background, at least not yet. I might have had some leftovers when I work on other pages, but right now it's like, fine, I can just change colors, right? So this is ready to be glued down, and that's pretty straightforward, right? I'm going to create a bucket. I think really what I always want to share is, if you see something you really like, in this case, a scrapbook kit that you really like, the colors, the pattern, whatever it happens to be, attracting your attention, you just go ahead and get it and challenge yourself to make a journal. I mean, if you're not scrapbooking, if you really are scrapbooking, then my goodness, yeah, there you go. So I want to make sure when I glue this one, I don't glue over here. So yeah, I didn't find this scrapbook kit. My sister-in-law did. She's quite the she goes to thrift stores frequently enough, and I don't. And she lives in a city that has good thrift stores. So that makes a difference. And so she's kind of keeping her eye out for me. And she thought this was really pretty. And I could have rejected it and put it back at the thrift store. And, that would have been okay too. She knows that not everything that she finds for me is something that I'm going to want to work with. You know, it's, I think it's just so sweet of her. And so when I finish a journal, I take it and show it to her. And sometimes I've gone with a bit of a stack, unless there was a one time when it sold so fast that I wasn't able to take it to show to her. So she just got to see a photo. Let's see, what did I do? Did I put a little too much glue on there? Oh, no, no, no. It's just that the pocket is only in this piece, not this piece. So I could have not glued all the way up on this piece. And I think that's what I did on this one, was I didn't glue all the way across on that top edge of this piece. So something to keep in mind, but this still fits very nicely right there inside of this one, which is great. Now I did last year get a couple of grabby boxes. I didn't subscribe, but there were a couple of them that I really liked. And they had some of these ladies in the kit. And I thought, well, those would look really nice on this cover, doing something with this blank spot. But we already have words, so I thought a picture, and I found a couple of these ladies who were picnicking. And these are stickers. So with stickers, I usually add just a little extra glue around the edge. I noticed that the pros, I like to call them, so we have Margaret on Seven Plaza, and we have Tony and on Crafty by Tony, and it's just they're thinking about things like that. And of course, Natasha's always adding extra glue. All right, so the front cover is done. Now for the back cover, get caught up here on my gluing sheet. For the back cover, I had another one of these, but it's too big, so I just trimmed off the green. I had another little snippet here, and there it is. So this is one of the offcuts from the page. And then in here, I have two of these, and I'm going to wait before I do these because I'm not sure that I have the exact same ones, or if I even have another set of them, because that's one of the things with these kits is that sometimes, in the case of this kit for sure, is that this page had a decorative, they're double-sided, so you could use this side or you can use this side. So you had to make a choice. And that's what I had to do, is I had to make a choice. So, I mean, here we are. We're only on the front cover. So let me go ahead and do this part, and then we'll go to the inside front covers. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I just thought I would mention here, as I'm putting this little flower on, is that, yes, I made this into a pocket anyway, even though I don't have anything ready to go, but I did leave it as a pocket. And usually in a junk journal, whenever we're layering pages, in this case, when we're layering especially, this is a visible part of the spine. And so I just want to mention it now while I'm thinking about it, is that on all of these spine areas, I tried to remember to ink the spine area where I knew it was going to be exposed, since since it's going to be exposed. Okay, so something will go in the pockets later, So now what we want to look at is we'll start with here. Make sure everything is sticking nicely. Okay, so here is here. And what I used, so here's our offcut from cutting that. So what I need is this. I could have folded it over. See, I didn't look to see. It's like, oh no, I couldn't have folded it over because, well, I could have if I'd done it lengthwise. Okay, so just something to think about is that I could have cut it lengthwise and just folded it over. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it to size and make it into pockets anyway. Yeah, I did it. I folded it over the first time. So thought processes. Now when I'm making a video, I'm being a little more, gotta pay attention. I saw the rounded corners and assumed, it's only been 2 weeks since I finished this one. Go figure. So it's okay. Just was making a little tuck spot out of it anyway, so go ahead and it will be just fine. We will have a good enough pocket this way. So that is 2 inches. Make sure I'm doing it in the correct direction. And 2 inches. That is just I know. See, the thing is when I'm making it for the first time, I was going very, very slow because I didn't know what I was going to do next. So if I get in too much of a rush, I'm liable. Well, it's not a mistake. It just comes out looking a little different. And it's not bad that it comes out looking a little different. Right? They don't have to be absolute twins. And they're not going to be because I simply don't have all the exact same parts and pieces. I did have to make a decision on some of those scrapbook pages as to whether I was going to use the parts and pieces that were on the back side versus the whole page, which you're going to see in one of these other pages, is that I had to make a decision. All right. So I aim here. So I know I want to glue that down. So I just aim for where I want the flower to be, move that, and all I did was peel back this bottom part. There we go. And I'll do the same thing over here. So I'm going to leave it at that right now. What I am going to do though is I'm going to go back here. And since I do have these two to go inside here, I'm going to finish these off, put tabs on them, and then I think, let's see. Yeah, I did a pocket on the back and I did a pocket on the front. I'm not going to worry about that ledger page. I think I'm just going to leave it blank for now. So I'm going to go ahead and do these, and then we'll go on to page spread 2. I have been busy assembling. I have been busy assembling page 3 without realizing that somehow I double punched the record button. So I'm sorry you missed this part, but it's pretty straightforward. I'll just say what I did here is I did cut this piece of paper, and just glued it in place with glue stick and a little on the edges of the precision glue. I've got a little flower sticker here, so it's the same actual flower. And I have my trim, which I haven't done the back side yet, so let's do that. So I had this piece, and I just went ahead and used washi tape, which I did add some glue to the washi tape to create a hinge. And I had these little pieces and made a little tag. I didn't back the tag as a writing spot, it's just a little tag. So this is the first one that I did with the flip out and the tag and these pieces. I haven't gotten to the glitter yet, but we'll save that for later. That's just a little extra. I haven't done the back side of this same sheet. So I was just working on the waterfall. So I wanted to share with you. So, I mean, I hope that's all pretty straightforward stuff, but anyway, so that got done. All right, so now I was working on the waterfall, so I can kind of go over that real quick. I stepped away to get my big stapler. So all I wanted to say about when I'm making a waterfall is I saw that I wanted it to start down here and I wanted to allow enough room for washi tape up at the top. So by lining up my piece of paper and doing that down there and seeing that I want to have a gap up at top, I started by folding this piece. And most of you know how to do a waterfall anyway, but this is how I found it to be easy. And then I lined up my second piece of paper at 1/4 inch from the bottom and then just nudged it into the crease up at the first piece of paper and folded that down. And did the same thing again. Nope, wrong one. That's the middle one. The third piece. There we go. And they don't have to be, I don't measure or anything. I'm just eyeballing it and snug that up and put that down. And this one did the same thing. So it came out to be a very nice looking waterfall. So this is where I realized I wasn't recording. So, all right. Now I do have a long arm stapler. I got it at thrift store for $3. You know, it's I don't know, these good office supplies are showing up. And I do like the thing very much. Now you can use a regular stapler. You can just staple straight down into something squishy like this old mouse pad, and then you can just use your the a blunt end of a metal tool to push over the little tines of your staple. But if you happen to see a long arm stapler at a thrift shop, it is a very nice tool to have. So I'm just recessing that a little bit. Very good. Not bad at all. So those are right in the crease where I want them. Okay, very good. So for this, I'm just going to put a little teeny bit of glue, and that will hold down the last page. So the washi tape isn't going to do a whole lot. It's mostly going to be decorative, but it is going to help. All right. There we go. All right. Now, what I did over here was after this was just like those last little goodies, like the glitter. I did a little stenciling on some places. So we'll get to that later because that can happen afterward. So now, let's see, should I do the inside? Yeah, we can go ahead and do the inside. So the inside is one of these little flippy envelopes. And I have that ready to go. Get my glue paper over here. I did do a little stenciling on this page. I think I'll come back to that, and I have to come back to this piece. So there's going to be some final bits to put together, and that is all right. So this is where I was having a little fun with this clock face. And actually, so what I did was I cut out, this kit had hands, to clock hands. And so I had this paper flower. Now I did go ahead and bend these brad tines, but I forgot what I wanted to do was go ahead and go all the way through. So let us go ahead and sneak that in there. Just give that a little reinforcement. Because I want the hands to move, but I don't want the brad moving around. And really, mostly I did that so that I would have orientation. I'm going to put this piece of trim on first. Doesn't much matter what order I do this in. That's just a little decision I'm making. And I'm putting extra on the ends to stop raveling. And that was something that when I was making the travel layered journal, the first one that I did as a layered journal after Natasa, is the back side of the whole thing was a little bit more plain than the front. And I have the material, so I thought I'm going to make it just as pretty lying down on its face as it is sitting down in a normal book position. So that was just something that I thought would be fun to do. So I'm adding these same elements of trim and lace and things like that to both the front and the back. So, and that is just good. It's staying where it belongs. So this was fun. This was one of the clock faces that I cut it out from this clock face. So I just took it off this alarm clock and made it available to do something completely different. And this was a fun trim. I did not find this at a thrift store. I found this at Joann's before they closed, which I thought was pretty fun. But because it's so delicate, just these little bits, I decided what I had to do. See, it's kind of hard to, it wants to wiggle a lot. Let me put it that way. So I'm going to glue it a little at a time. So let's start by lifting up those petals so that I can sneak this under there. Yeah. And that will get it started. Now I can go ahead and I'm just going to snip it off a little bit long. And, oh, yeah, there is glue on that one. So now I'm just going to work my way down the stem. That just leaves these little motifs for this side. And these are just part of the little kit. I'm not going to put them in too far because I don't want them to get stuck down. Okay, so we are done with that side. And we have the waterfall, and we have the envelope, and we just need this piece. Okay, page 3 is now finally done, except for this and little extra goodies. Okay, so I made sure it looks like everything is running as far as recording is concerned. So here is our page 1, 2, and 3, and on the back. So we are ready for page 4. Now, page 4 is where I needed to start making some different kinds of decisions. And so I wanted another layer that was visible under that one, but I wanted to keep the motif of one of the pages. So what we had in the first one was a different page, because obviously this one I think I sacrificed so that I could get all of these nice pieces. So these pieces are going to disappear inside. They're just going to get cut up. Oh no. So I measured this one and I made myself a little note down here so that I can cut this one. So I want to keep this because that can go up here. So what I want is to take 3 inches. It's 9 inches tall. So I need to take 3 inches off of here. I don't want to take it off here because it'll cut right through that clock. So I'm going to take 3 inches off of here. Do I need to make a little mark? And that's for the height. So I have to double check and double check and double check because I want to make sure. Okay, so 3 inches and the folds are going to go in here. Okay. I don't triple check. It's just I have messed up in the past. So I lose those nice cards, but I've got plenty to make another 6x6 paper pad because that's where I got some of these for that 6x6 paper pad. And we have a really nice scrap here. So we don't need that, but what we do need is the scoreboard. And I wrote myself a note, and I want this at 4.5. And I only have a small scoreboard, so I just have to be real careful here to not go too far. Because I've done that before too, where I just kept going and I've torn the paper where I don't want it to get torn. There we go. And the other one is at 9 inches. So I want to cut, this is 12, so I want to take off 3. And hope that I did it right. And I'm sure I did this time. At least I have that nice model sitting there that I can work with. So, this is a pretty easy, this one's a pretty easy one. Okay, so this is the back of the book. This is the one that's the leading edge of the book. Okay, let me ink these edges. Let's go to the front. All right, now this is where I used this pretty lace. And it was just easier to put the glue on the cardstock instead of the lace, because it holds still better than the lace. The lace is quite a nice ruffle, a little extra blank glue on the ends here. And put a little clip there. And it helps me tension out by putting a clip on either end. And then I can kind of coax it in. And again, this is a place where it's going to get very little, there's not going to be much stress on it. It's not going to get pulled on very much. It does act as a sort of a tab. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about the Bearly Art Glue is it sets quickly. All right, so now I'm going to do it back here as well. So I have these little pieces. Oh, yes, right. This is part of the exposed spine. So I want to make sure that that's inked. I missed a spot. Safe to take that off. And I'm not taking them across where the spine is going to get sewn because that it just creates a binding that it just doesn't work. They tend to cause buckling. All right, so that's all glued down. And yes, that's the back. That goes to the front. I left this as writing, journaling space, or putting photos or other kinds of embellishments for the user of this journal. On the inside, now this was something that I just happened to have in my stash, was some brochure paper. I went, well, look at that. That works out very, very well. Okay, so on this side, I was originally thinking I just left this as a hinge. Now, because I'm just not sure, I'm going to decide later on these. On this one, the inside of this particular page, I thought was prettier. Now, these are very pretty. I really like them, but I did not add a pocket or any other kind of writing space because this was very pretty. So this is just another one of those decisions. These are right side up. So I think for the time being, though, I am going to leave those. I just glued this on, and I did leave it open for a pocket on the first one. And I didn't use it as a pocket. Instead, it might be better to leave it as a pocket on this side. And that's partly because of the lace, that when you open it up, anything sticking out here is going to get impacted by the lace. So that was something that I didn't quite think of on the first one, but on this one I am. So when this opens, this could be a pocket or a tuck spot. So I think that's what I'm going to do on this one. And to accomplish that, I'll do it in two parts. I will put the glue on this here. And let's see, I'm not too sure how far. Oh, okay, I'll just do it that way. There. I'm going to leave that much of a gap over on this side so I know how much to put on here. That works. So there's my gap. I hope I did it right. Yes. All right, now I'm going to have a little play here. On the previous one, I put the flower on the back page. I'm going to put it on the front one here. Let me find my little, I think I have some more of these. The desk is getting very cluttered and it's getting harder to find. There we go. This little strip had these little bitty clock faces. So I made use of them with a little punch. I think this was the one I used. Ah, yes. There we go. So now I have this cute little clock face. So I'm going to find 12 o'clock. There it is. And again, I'm going to use that. I just think it's very cute. Okay, so there's that one. Now I'm going to do what I did on the front back here. Okay. but I did make this a tuck spot. Okay, so this I can make a normal tuck spot pocket. And I don't have, on this first one, I had an extra clock face. I don't have an extra clock face here, so I thought I would do something different. That was one of the easiest, I think that was the easiest page in the whole thing because I had these already and I just had to do a little bit of embellishment and add the lace. This one was super easy to do. And that goes in here. Aha, I think. Yeah. So this little piece can go in here. This can be my little fold over piece. So what I will do is I'll add some writing, some journaling paper here, and I will fold that up and put that in that spot. So I shall go do that. And here we are back to page 3. We had that offcut, and that's what I was looking for, was an offcut. Couldn't remember where it was coming from. So here is a perfect sized offcut for in there. And I think this time I'll leave a pocket. I didn't do that before, but I think I'll leave a pocket this time. I might not put anything in it, but somebody might want to. And then again, I might put something in it. You know, when I go through these at the end of putting them together, I make final decisions, right? You know, it's kind of like, oh, okay, we need a little stenciling or rubber stamping. We just need one more tag, right? So we just need that that one extra thing. Okay, so we get this, and we have this, and we have this. You know, here I have it all figured out. Whoops, no, that goes on the inside. Here I have it all figured out, but it's still taking a lot of time. But this isn't going to be 3 days in making the video. I'm moving along pretty well. But you know what? If you stopped right there, isn't that pretty? You know, you could just stop. And the other pages could be used for a different journal, right? So, yeah, you know, all sorts of possibilities. So that was page 4. We are ready for page 5. Now, 5, I kind of went bonkers on page 5. Let's see if I go bonkers again. I have all my materials here. I have cardstock. I have the folder. And this was the one where on the back side I did a flip and a flip and a flip and a flip and a pocket, and then on the front one I left this one plain. I did put a little lace up there, and this, and a flip and a flip and a flip and another pocket, and yeah. So this one has a lot going on. So you can see what that is right away. And this is going to be my base. And this is a different base. Is it a different base? Actually, no, this is the same. Yeah, this is the same base. So I'm going to cut out all my parts and pieces because you don't need to watch me do that. And I will come back and we'll put it all together. Okay, are you ready for page 5? I have been cutting and inking and getting ready with all the goodies. So I have this piece of lace. I'm just going to go ahead and get it prepared. So I just went ahead and inked the edges of the lace. I decided I wanted to leave it natural, but just give it a little bit of that color, since this is the theme color for this. So that's how I do that. Now that's ready to go. So let's see. The next thing, now we have come to a place where if I'm going to do any stenciling, I need to do it before assembly. So I am going to, I don't need to do anything other than ink the edges. So let's see, I'm going to paste in this pretty paper. This is a printer paper. It was like this. I just had to cut out a little bit. This printer paper was another lucky find. My sister-in-law found the time kit, and I found this at a thrift store, completely different date, and it just matches perfectly. And you could see through it a little bit, and that's perfectly okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste this in and get that out of the way. Okay, now that part's done. So what I want to do with this is I wanted to create the flaps and the flaps. So I've already cut this cardstock out. It's a different cardstock. I had some Easter egg dyed cardstock for the first one, and I used it up. So, but I did have this cardstock in my stash, so that worked just fine. And so what I'm doing with this cardstock is I'm gluing it in here, and then it's going to do this. But I do want to stencil this. I did stencil the other one, and it looks very pretty that way. And I did a bit on the inside as well as what I'm calling the outside. So this is a Tim Holtz stencil. I don't know what number it is. Sure is a nice one. And for this, I am using one of the little makeup brushes, and I'm just using this one ink pad pretty much for everything. And so let's see, I am just going to go ahead and do that, speed it up. I think that is enough for this one. I did add a little bit to the envelope, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just, just adds that, just a little something, you know, just a little something. This green and this purple look so lovely together. See, that's great. That's plenty. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And just, yep, just a little bit on the inside. Not very much, because of course, well, you couldn't see that. Because things are going to be, this is going to be all covered up. So we just kind of tie all different sides and parts and pieces together. So that's plenty. Okay. So I think that was all I did of the stenciling. I'm double checking. So we are ready to assemble. Okay, so these are going to go on the inside. So first, I'm going to glue that down. I'm referencing over here to what I did on the previous one. So there we go. So let's see. These go with that one. And on this side, we have these. And it goes like that. And it just seems a little taller than the other one, but that's okay. So what I did here was I hinged it with some washi tape. Flip that around. So the washi tape is right side up. I'm going to take it off screen for a minute. Now, on some of these things, I didn't do it one page after another in the original. I couldn't. I was making so many decisions as I went along. It was just, it was just I do a little bit here and a little bit there and all of that good stuff. So on this side, I'm using this as my hinge. So I need to add glue to this instead. And this pocket is an offcut from, I think, from this big page. Yeah, it was off. It was, I cut this pocket off when I shortened from the 12 inches. This part here is now this. And I still have another piece left over that I can do something with. So there's that. So now we have, it's the front, and it flipped out and up, and then at the last I'll put something in the pocket after it's sewn in. And then this is where I like to put an envelope in my journals. I like to put envelopes in the journals. I don't always, but it's kind of fun. And what this does is it creates a spot where I can put some bits and pieces. So the person who is playing in this journal, they have a few bits and pieces to play with. Now I accidentally did this one with the flower upside down. And I think it's okay. I'm just going to let it be that way. So it's like a hanging vine kind of flower, right? That's what I'm going to roll with that, because there's nothing wrong with the envelope otherwise. So we're just going to glue that down just the way it is. Again, not going all the way to the fold so that it has flexibility. And I'm going to center it. So there was one more thing. Oh yeah, there was one more thing on the front one. Yes. And on this one, it was, okay, did a couple of things. Right. So we got a little flower thing here. And I got that leafy thing. All right, so let's do our flowers. Get a grip. There it is. Okay, you can't really see it in the camera. I wasn't able to see. Maybe you can see it very well. It's actually a musical note with wings. It's kind of a fun motif. Okay, so there's that one. And on the back, I put it on the inside on the back, but I think I'm going to put it on the front. I finally got that thing loosened up for some reason. I was really having a hard time getting it getting it to release. All right, so there's only one thing left to do, and that's to put that on. So unlike paper, this is cloth lace, and it is flexible. So I can put that around the spine, and it's more attractive than if I had two blunt ends of the lace. At least I think so. I think it's nice having it around the spine like that. Okay, so there we go. There is. What are we up to? We're up to, I lost count. There we go. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was page 5. Yay! We're at page 5. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, but it's coming along. I could stop at any time, right? So, all right, page 5. Now, page 6 is where the signature is. So let me get all those parts and pieces ready, and I'll be back. Are you ready for page number 6? Oh, goodness. Right. I was tidying up to find my papers and what I needed. And this was my chart. I was figuring out, you can really see here where I was trying to figure out, okay, 6 inches is my maximum width. And I really didn't want to go any smaller than 4 inches for my minimum width. So I was looking at, okay, how am I going to stagger these 6 pages? So I wound up doing the four, a 4.5, a 5.5, and then leave the biggest one at 6. But that meant I had one in between that didn't quite go that far. So this one is also 4.5, but it's taller. So I figured out that that would work, especially since I was doing embellishments on the side, which is the green lace is on this one. This is the one, this one that is short widthwise has the green lace, which makes it wide enough. So that's what I came up with. And then I was also working on the height and what kind of embellishment was going to go on the top of things. So I did work it out mathematically on a little chart so that I would know what to do. So it's something that you might not want to do. So I have all my parts and pieces. I have inked edges. I have a signature ready to go. I have a piece of vellum folded. I've got parts and pieces. So when I cut this was a 12 by 12. So I cut off a strip. The main thing I wanted to keep was this beautiful part of the paper. And I don't mind that when I folded it up, this is now upside down, but that's okay. The one thing that did happen that I'm not proud of, but it happens, is that when I went to fold it, I think I folded it this way. I put it on the scoring board, and I fell off the edge. So there's a little bitty tear in here, and it's really hard to see. So I used the artist tape to reinforce it. So 2 layers here and 1 layer here that are completely hidden by the pockets. And I think it's just fine, because a lot of times when we fold cardstock, we get a little bit of a raggy edge, and I just inked it, but it's fully supported by the tape on the inside. So I'm happy with that, but I do need to let you know that if you make a goof like that, if you can reinforce the inside, not a problem. So let me go ahead and, we could also have covered it up on the outside as well. So what I want to do now is get these pockets glued down. Oh, and before I glue them down completely, I want you to see that I did trim out just a little bit, just a teeny little bit of the fold, because otherwise it gets very bulky in the spine area. So I did do that. Okay, so our pockets. And I used the decorative paper that I found and alternate it with my Easter egg dyed paper. So it's very pretty. I didn't get carried away with the number of pages. Let me see. I did 2, 4, 6, I did 8 pages folded in half. And that's going to go right there. So on this signature is easier than the big signature because I don't have to This is a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and that's going to be 5. So I can just eyeball this one. And this one, oops, going in with the needle. I need to go in with the awl. This is our centerpiece. And you can see how it's constructed here. I folded down 1.5 inches. I didn't want to go the full 12 inches on this. This reinforces doubling up the top of this page since it's kind of hanging out there, up there by itself. So I really wanted to fold it down, especially since I was only doing 6 pages, 6 major pages. And all I have to do here, I've got a pocket, and I just have to glue it down. And you can see that I sewed this signature together from the outside in, and I just did this one from the inside out. And I just feel like for this purpose, I'd rather have it sewn from the inside so that the knot and everything is on the inside. So let me go ahead and do a little work here. So first, again, now I did not tear anything here. I put the artist tape, which is a kind of masking tape, but it's archival and it's a bit stronger. So I put that inside here just to reinforce the fold here at the top, because again, I cut a little teeny slit out of the flap so that when this gets folded shut, I mean, there's enough bulk in the whole thing, but when it's folded shut, it works better. There is a little bulk from that tape in there, but that's okay. That's going to work. Now, because I am sewing, not sewing, but gluing this down, you can see it comes exactly to the edge of the flap. I am going to glue this flap down entirely and leave this one as a tuck spot. But this would be, it would be too much interference trying to put something underneath here. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down completely and glue this one down as a tuck spot. And this flap is going to get glued down, and I'm going to put extra glue on this edge. I want to make sure it stays put. It's got a little weight to carry, so I want extra glue in both the top, the bottom, and actually I'm going to apply the glue on this edge. Sure it looks good over here, and it does. And now I can really work it in place in here. Yeah, well, it's stuck down now. Got a teeny tiny little overlap there. But it looks good out here, so that's okay. Definitely doesn't need an extra pocket here. So that was, I suppose, the more complex part. Now this is a piece of vellum that I have gone ahead and scored. There is a bit of pattern on it. Maybe you can catch the shine there a little bit. Nice thing about this Barely art glue is that it kind of disappears behind vellum, which is very nice because some things don't, because vellum is so transparent. And I did miter the corners. I don't know if you can see that, but we'll take a look once it's on the page. Okay, so we have a vellum pocket, and up here is going to go a card in the tuck spot, and this is just a little mini journaling book. Now, in the first one that I did, I used 2 of the cards and just glued them to I glued it completely to the last page and partially glued it to the first page, because they didn't wrap around. So, and then I just used, went ahead and did a 3-hole pamphlet stitch in this little guy. So that fits very nicely in the pocket. But this one, I didn't have any more of those cards, so I have this nice piece of cardstock. So that is what I'm going to put in there, and I can decorate the cover with some of these bits and pieces. So I'll decide on that later. So these pieces can wait because we are ready to sew it together. And then the last little things are going to be things that can be done after it's all sewn together. So let's see, is there anything that I might want to take out? So I haven't put things in pockets. I might want to take those out. Anything that adds extra bulk that I can remove might be a good idea. Well, I don't have much to remove. Everything is kind of bulky. So, oh, that goes in the middle. Silly me. I'm just not used to having the bigger sheet, the bigger piece on the inside. Okay, here we go. That's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. So let me see. I need to line everything up. Clamp it together. So all of these meet at the bottom. This one meets at the bottom. There we go. This one is 1 inch higher. So that is just right. And that cover piece meets at the bottom. Okay, let's get our clamps out. So this, I can't clamp from the top, so I've got to make sure that I clamp well on the bottom. Okay. I think that's all I can do, and that's okay. So let's see. I need to make a template. For some reason, I don't have my original template, so I'm going to make a template, and I'll be right back. Now, for a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, we can just eyeball it. For this one, I don't want to just guess because we have all of these layers. So I thought I'd just go ahead and go over my thought process with you. So for a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, the easy thing to do is to have a sheet of paper the length and then allow a little, maybe an inch and a quarter from the top and bottom, and then fold that in half. So I hope that makes sense. Now this is the basis from which I'm going to figure this out, but I'm not ready to draw the lines yet. And the reason is I want to make some adjustments to where I'm going to poke the holes, because we have, like, this particular page is elevated. So I want to make sure it's getting some holes, and I want to make sure that this is not going to be too awkward, or it's not. So I want it to work. How's that sound? So as I look at this, the center is right here, and that does catch that second page. So I'm going to go with the center. I'm going to say yes to that. Now on this bottom one, I kind of put a ruler across. Whoops. On this bottom one, I can see where the fold is. And if I line it up, it is going to catch that just a little bit. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up just 1/8 of an inch above. And that's going to be fine for all the other pages. But I want to make sure that this doesn't have like a hole coming through just the bottom of that part. So now I'm going to just eyeball this and say, okay, the halfway point between there and there. And now let's look up here at the top and see what we've got going on at the top. All right, so now my first fold is actually going to go through the lace. It's not even going to catch the top of this page. So again, I want to catch it just below the lace. So I'm going to put my hole there instead because I want to catch this page. This page is going to be fine because I reinforced it. So I want to, yeah, this is going to be very similar to the bottom half. And a hole there is going to be nice because that's not going to, I don't want to catch it right on the edge of one of these pages. You know what I mean? I want it to be more firmly inside where those pages are. So I'm happy with this. I'm winding up going an inch and a quarter from the bottom and an inch and 3/8 from the top. So I'm fine with that. That's going to look nice. And I know that inside the middle page, I folded it down an inch and a half. So this being an inch and 3/8 is going to put it just below that fold. I mean that edge of the fold down part. So it's not going to look awkward. Is that one way of putting it? It's not going to look awkward. All right. So I hope this makes sense. So now I have that. And it's sewn exactly the same as 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And so we just have this signature kind of creating a little bulk there, but I don't want to open it out. I want to leave it in there. So I have this piece of paper exactly where I want it. So I'm just going to go for it. Yeah, I'm going to start in the middle. And I can go either up or down. It just doesn't matter. And I'm going to get that needle in there right away. That's going to help hold it in place. As a matter of fact, with something this tall, I am going to utilize a second one. I'm going to put another, whoops, I'm going to put another needle just as a placeholder. It just helps hold where the holes are going to be in place. Okay, and then the last one. All right, so now I'm going to slip this into the hole. So my goal is to take the template out. I guess I better take that needle out of there too. There we go. So now I can take the template out. Thank you very much. And there we go. I've got everything's ready to go here. So I'll speed this up. Sometimes you need pliers. I know I've said that before, but it is so true. And then we go back in. So it's just an out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. So you're just doing a big figure 8. That's all it is. I did do 3.5 lengths of the thread because I wanted to allow for sort of a dangle, a hanging couple of things. That's mimicking Natasa again. I mean, why reinvent the wheel when somebody already has, right? Okay, so now I'm going to skip the middle, and when I find it, there's the next hole. Now there's less layers up here, so it goes through a lot easier. Okay. And now I'm thinking about tightening just a little bit. I want to make sure that I have it nice and firm. go. So I'm just tightening right now because I think that's important. With this long a spine, I want to make sure it's nice and tight. And now we go back in. Let me see if I can feel it coming through with my other finger. You kind of have to be very slow and poke around until you, there it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, whew, there. So now I want to tighten everything up. And this is that S knot that Natasha has shown us many times. Really nice. So now we can have a little fun with the middle. I'm going to chop this off. I'm going to do them two different lengths. Longer one and just a little bit shorter. Now, where's my dots? There they are. Little dots. A fun little thing. Again, this is, you know, it's always this like, there's just so much. I can't imagine what I would have, it's like, Natasha's so brilliant. No, I'm going to keep saying it because it's so true. And I love that I have learned so much from her. Ooh, let's get that in there. I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful. So I had so much fun. I just had so much fun doing this. It's a very different kind of creativity. I've always loved paper. Always loved paper. And this is such a fun and creative way to use paper. So there. I mean, they don't serve any purpose, but they're fun. That's kind of what it's about, huh? All right. So, what do I have left to do? This is the big part. Oh yes, before I break off to do a few other things, I decided on the first one. Oh yeah, there's the beading to do. You can see the beading. So I added some more flowers. And I added a little bit of sparkle. So I will add the flowers. There we go. Oh, I didn't ink that in. Oh my goodness. How did I miss that? I think I did the inside. Yep, I did the inside. I forgot to do the outside. Oh, okay, we're almost there. So let me kind of neaten up here and get out the last bits and pieces and things that I want to do, and we'll finish this baby off. This video has gone crazy long. So anyway, I just went ahead and finished off most of it. I've got just a couple more things to do, but here all I'm doing is I did beading with a beading needle with embroidery floss, and now I'm just threading the needle through my normal bookbinding, threading the thread through my normal bookbinding needle and putting that in. And this is what I did on the first one, and I'm just giving the beads a little bit of looseness These just were some beads that were in my stash. And so, I mean, really all I did before, and I just did it again here, is just thread some beads and tie a couple of knots and just make sure it was anchored in. And yes, I ran a little bit extra, some extra knots, just to make sure it's nice and tight. And then I'm just winding it underneath. Just pretty simple, just keeping it very, very simple. The spine is nice and tight, which is good. So anyway, give it a little glue to anchor it down. Okay, so beading is done. So the very last thing, really, well, almost the last thing. Anyway, I want to ink the muslin. So it's not just muslin color. It's got a little bit of our theme purple in there. And that's all I do. I just rub the the inker over the muslin. Super, super easy, simple, quick. That is all it takes. And there, I've got that all done. So I went ahead and finished it. And the only thing that I had, the last little goodie that I wanted to do was to put on just a touch of glitter glue. These flowers have glitter, and I put some silver beads on, so it needed a touch of sparkle. And all I did was I used a skewer because the little nozzle was plugged anyway. So I just used a skewer, and you can see some of that, and I just kind of rubbed it on. Just very simple, just a little extra, just a little extra glitter on, yeah, and on that page, I got a little heavier handed. So there was what that is. So let's go ahead and do a really quick flip through. I'm going to start with the little guy. And again, I will definitely be putting the links to Natasha's videos in the description box, because for this 6x6 paper pad, you just need to watch her video, because all I did was a couple of little modifications. The main one being that she, I just did it a little different here. I actually started wrapping this edge onto the front and working my way around to the back. And I had this gap left. So that got solved with the last little flip out that I put in. So this is just like what she did, just like one of her little 6x6. So very, very simple. And I just added a few sheets of paper in here. Here's another journaling spot. Tucked some of those extra bits in. This is another journaling spot. Places to write. And then this last little fold out. So that really is all there is to the 6x6 paper pad. And there it is. Here's the layered purple time journal number 2. And since you saw most of it being put together, or maybe you just skipped ahead to this. So there's a tag in there, but I don't need to go through it too thoroughly. I did add something to the pockets, belly band, tuck spots, all of that sort of thing. And I'm just leaving those the way they are. And that is fine. Flip up. I think it came out really nice. I think it's gorgeous for one thing. It was a very beautiful kit of paper. And I just 3-hole pamphlet stitch for this little booklet. Used a few little bits and pieces on it. And here is our signature section. A couple of things tucked in here. Tag. And the flip out and the flip out, what I did with the envelope. And you can see there's more bits and pieces. This was a really big kit of stuff. It was wonderful, you know. So all I did was I laid all the bits and pieces out on the table and I just divvied them up so that, you know, journal number one gets half and journal number two gets half. So the envelope is stuffed full. Lots of stuff for whoever winds up with this journal. They will have plenty of things to play with. So I hope you got some fresh ideas. This one, I used a couple of the little motifs to make just a little sort of a flip out tag. Little puck spots, writing spots, lots of little things, and a couple of more tags. So that's it. And it's chunky and it stands up nice. So it could be a pretty shelf sitter, right? There. Okay, so I do hope that you got something out of this. I do apologize again for my little mix up with my audio and video and everything. So this here is number one, here is number two. I'm selling them as sets on my Etsy shop. This was a lot of fun. It was a lot to think about to put it all together and make it work. So I'm proud of these. I definitely am proud of these. And I would love to hear your comments. What do you think? And I hope you got something out of it. And if you like it, you know the rope. You just let me know you liked it. And yeah, the next thing I do is going to be completely different. And I hope you'll join me then. So thank you again and have fun. Have fun. Hope you have fun. And bye for now.